Hello and welcome to this video on JavaScript. We will look at if else statements in this video and switch statements and also ternary operator. So these are called control flow or conditionals. Suppose we have a variable x and its value is 5. Now we want to do something if x is 5. So the way to do is you say x is equal to 5. Then you do something. So this do something which we want to do is within a block. This is called a block which is marked by braces. So here for example we can say that console.log, we can say x is 5 because we are sure that x is 5 here. Okay. So when we compare x is equal to 5, it returns a boolean. For example, you can say this. What does it return? X is equal to 5. So this will return true. So we run this node hello.js. So x is 5 and true. So here this will be always a boolean expression inside if. Okay. Now suppose we do not get x is equal to 5. In that case, we can say that else, the other condition is else x is not 5. Okay. So in this case, it will again print x is 5. But what if we change x to 6? Then it will see that x is not 5. This will become false. And therefore, this block will not execute. Now, in the else case, it will see that yes, x was not 5, so I can execute this block. It will say x is not 5. We run this and says x is not 5. But what if we wanted to see if x is 6 also? So we can say that else if x is equal to 6. Oops. We can say that console.log x is 6. You can use single quotes also for strings. Now we change this, x is neither 5 nor 6. Now what will happen is it will check, is x is equal to 5? No, so this won't execute. Now it will check x is equal to 6. So yes, x is equal to 6. So it will run this piece of code. Once it has run this piece of code, it will not execute else part. So we run this and it says x is 6. Now the question is, can we nest this? Nesting means can we have if inside if? Then the answer is yes. Now what we do is if x percentage is equal to no, if x percentage 2 is equal to 0. So we say that console.log x is divisible by 2. Note the use of parenthesis here. This parenthesis is meant to override the precedence table. So what we want to do is we want to compute the percentage operation, that is the modulus or remainder operation first, and then we want to compare that remainder with 0. So here we say that x is divisible by 2. Now inside this if we can say that if x percentage 3 is equal to 0, then we say that console.log x is divisible by 3 as well. Okay, so now you see it will print both the statements. X is divisible by 2, x is divisible by 3 as well. So it sees that x percentage 2 is equal to 0. See, the auto indentation removed my parenthesis, which is not a good thing. The parenthesis should be there. Anyway, so it will try to execute this block. The first thing which happens is it will execute this, and then it will try to execute this. So it will check, is it does it leave remainder when divided by 3? Yes, so it will print this as well. What if we make it 5? In this case, it will see that it will not enter this only. This becomes false because it will leave remainder 1, and 1 is not equal to 0, so it will not execute this block. So we make it 4. 4 is 4 leaves no remainder when divided by 2, so it will print this. But this is not true anymore, so it will not execute this. So if you want to see that, you see this. What if we have 12? Then we can take this logic further, and we say that x percentage 4, and we can say that x is divisible by 4 as well. Okay, so yes, x is divisible by 4 as well. So this way you can arbitrarily nest if, and you can also nest an else condition here. Else console.log x is not divisible by 4. So to get this, we replace this again by 6. So now it will say x is divisible by 2, x is divisible by 3 as well, and then it will say x is not divisible by 4. So we have seen if, else, and nesting of that. At any of these level, you can nest else if and else as well. For example, you can say else if here you want to do something, you can put your condition and do that. So the key part to remember is there can be a series of these Boolean operations. For example, this can be odd, logical odd, with any statement which may return false or true. Okay, this will work. So this true can be another expression like this one. Okay, and this false is also for that. Or you can have and here, for example. Okay, so you see that you can combine arbitrary levels of Boolean expressions in this case. All right, and you should always ensure that you use the triple is equal to or not is equal to compare in this case. So for example, uh, we can say, we can have another variable name is equal to Shiv, and then you can say that if x percentage equal to 2, and you can say that here name is equal to Shiv, then it will work. Or name, it is a global variable name is there, a global name is there, so we shouldn't use name. So now there are two conditions on which it will enter the loop 2 is equal to 0. If condition 2 is equal to 0, when remainder divided by 2, when x divided by 2 leaves no remainder, or n is Shiv, this should be capital, then it will enter this. For example, let's make it 5. Now in this case, what happens is, even though x does not leave remainder 0 when divided by 2, but n is Shiv. So this part of the expression will make the entire expression true because it is logical OR. So now it will enter this if body. and it will say that x is divisible by 2. Others will not be executed, but only this will be printed. So this is how you do combinations of if and else. We'll see more complex if else once we start doing real programming of larger programs. Now the other thing which could be done is a case statement. So suppose x is equal to 5. So case statement is kind of shortcut to if else. So here we say case 1, we say console.log x is 1. Let's put it in the same line. And then we say case 2. And we say there won't be semicolon but comma. What is the problem? And it this is what it should be. Case 2 console.log x is 2. So this is like your if statements, and there is a default which is like else console.log. We do not know the value of. So in this case, it is more like if x is equal to 1, x is equal to 2, then you do something like this. Although the case can be complicated here, or this expression can be complicated here, but it is somewhat a neater way to write if else, and it is always followed by break. So for example, if we run this, it prints the default case. What if we make x is equal to 1? Then it prints x is 1, x is 2. We do not know the value of x, which is not desirable. So what you need to do is you need to put a break here, that after executing you bail out of which we don't want you to execute further. Okay, we don't need a break after default because there are no cases. Now if you run this, it says x is 1. If we make it 2, it will say x is 2. And if we make it something like 3, then it will say we do not know the value of x. Now this expression can be something like type of x. So type of x finds the type of uh, the variable. So it is number. I'm not sure if it's capital or small. We'll see. And this is string. I think it should be small, and x is string. And this will become, we do not know the type of x. So we run this. It says x is number because x was a number. Now if we make it a string, let's put something arbitrary, then we have x is string. So this is the very simple case of which statement. Now we go and look at something called ternary operation. So we say let x is equal to 5 or 5 question mark C1 colon 0. So this is called ternary statement. What it means is it will first look at this part. If this part is true, so 5 is true. If this part is true, then you return 1, that is x becomes 1. And if this is false, x becomes 0. So if you look at this, console.log x would be 0 here. Oh, sorry, x would be 1 because this is true. Now let's make it 0. This is false, and let's make this 2. Then x will be 2 now. Okay. The equivalent of writing this is if You can say false, x is equal to 1, else x is equal to 2. Now after this you say console.log x. We run this, we get the same 2 here from this, and for the sake of clarity remove that. So x is 2 here. Now what if this is 5 or true? Then x will be 1 in this case. So the ternary operator is the shorthand for this kind of operation, and it is very convenient to use the ternary operator. So in this video we learned about if else, and we learned about ternary operator and switch statement. So this basically completes all the conditional statements available in JavaScript. In the next video, we will look at the loops which JavaScript gives us. There are lots of loops. We have while loop, we have do while loop, we have for loop, we have for in loop, for off loop. So there is quite a bit of variation in terms of looping power of JavaScript. And we will see those in the next video. I hope that you are finding this series useful, particularly if you are a new JavaScript programmer. And we will meet day after tomorrow again. Thanks a lot for watching the video. Happy programming.